Welcome to the Glenn Beck program, and welcome to 2011. Things are about to change. It's a new year, and this program has a new attitude. We face massive challenges and problems. The headlines of the day confirm that. For starters, we have a Congress becoming more irrelevant every single day. Over the break, the FCC did pass net neutrality. They now oversee and control the internet. The experts told me over and over again for the last 2 years it wouldn't happen. They wouldn't do it. They did it. They couldn't get it through Congress or the courts, so they went around them. The national debt has just surpassed $14 trillion. That's particularly alarming because, as you know, as we have told you on this program, we are now getting extremely close to the 90 to 100% debt to GDP ratio that every nation fears. Gas prices are climbing. The national average has now hit $3.07 a gallon. Where is Chuck Schumer in front of a gas station today? Crude is currently at $92.66 a barrel. Experts predict now it will hit $100 a barrel this year. Why is this happening? Well, number one, the oil price is pegged to the dollar. So the more money we print, the higher the price of oil. Have you heard any program tell that to you? Have you heard anyone in Washington tell that to you? Two, federal regulators said yesterday that 16 offshore drilling projects can now resume in the Gulf. But they still have to follow the all-new government regulations and safety mandates imposed after the BP spill. Oil companies, you better wake up and shoot straight with the American people and defend yourself, because nationalized oil is not far behind. There is now so much red tape involved to comply with, it is impossible for them to do business. It's impossible for oil companies to war game every imaginable disaster scenario, which I believe Cass Sunstein is now having them put down in paper. Plus, most locations are still at least a year off from being reopened. Oh, and one other problem that nobody seemed to see coming, the oil rigs are opting to leave the Gulf. They're headed to places like Mexico and Libya and Brazil. By the way, Petrobras just announced they had a fantastic December. What a coincidence. Oil companies were already leaving after the drilling ban several months ago. Why? Because rigs are sitting idle, doing nothing except losing millions of dollars. I believe this program explained it to the dummies in Washington at the time. A 6-month moratorium on oil drilling is a death sentence. Why? Why is it a death sentence? Well, you know those big oil platforms that are sitting down and they are going a mile down to drill? Those big oil platforms are not cheap. They don't just sit around if they're not being used. They are immediately leased to someplace else in the world, and they are used for as long as they last. You don't just sit around with empty equipment. It doesn't just go back on the beach. So when it's gone, it's gone. So what was it, the phrase that President Obama used? Oh yes, I remember. Energy prices will necessarily skyrocket. But it's not just energy. Some of the other things expected now to cost more in 2011. Airfare, car insurance, health insurance, grain, translation, your breakfast, college, postage rates, refinancing, credit cards, ammunition, and gold. Americans are filing for bankruptcy, and it is rising 9% last year. Unemployment remains double digits with no sign of improvement. And that is the tip of the iceberg. All of these problems are a little overwhelming. When I told you about all of these problems, we installed a red phone, this one, because they denied that any of these things would happen. They said none of these things would happen. And we put the red phone right here on the desk, and we said, call us. If we got it wrong, call us. They never called. They never will call. I'm not waiting for the call anymore. In fact, if I may, I'm not interested. There's a new attitude. It is a new year. Today, this program begins a new chapter. I want you to stop watching this program. I want you now to start using this program. Words are meaningless unless they affect you and change you and lead to action. We will show you, in their own words tonight, the left wants a violent revolution. Tonight, I am going to issue my own call for a revolution, except this call is for a personal revolution. And let it begin right now. Hello, America. America is at a crossroads. And this show is at a crossroads as well, in many ways. We have known that America was in trouble for the last 10 years. After every tragic event or bubble, America has gone back to sleep. And it makes sense. We all wanted to believe that, I don't know, that it wasn't as bad as they said it was. That we could have it all. That it's America, it'll always be this way. And I have gotten on this program and stood in this position, at this desk, at this phone, and this microphone. And I have said some pretty outrageous things. Some things that were crazy. Everybody said they were crazy, and now they're happening. But somehow or another, our collective gut, I don't care if you're from the left or the right, our collective gut has told us at every bubble and every tragedy in the last 10 years that it was time, America, to wake up and to use what we used to call common sense. This is what Americans from all points of the political compass meant when they called for change, because it was the American people. The reason why change worked is because it didn't come from Barack Obama. It didn't come from any political genius. It came from a focus group. And everybody was saying the same thing. That's why all the politicians were saying it. We've got to change. So now what do we do? Because time is passing us by. I told you last year, prepare. But I'm not a hunker down kind of guy. I'm not going to be sitting in a bunker with, food storage. That's not who I am. If I was on vacation this holiday, and I was sitting on the beach, and I thought, man, I don't know, I just move here. Here's the reason. Because I was born at this time for a reason, and so were you. This country has afforded me all kinds of opportunity. 15 years ago, I didn't have a dollar to my name. I'm a well-off guy now. I didn't have a formal education. Nobody in my family. I'm the first to ever to go to college, and I went for one semester because that's all I could afford. Only in America. I'm not going to hunker down. And I'm not going to go live on a beach. I owe the idea of America to my children. After spending years, and quite frankly, thousands of man-hours in research over the last few years, and reflection, and prayer, my team and I have come to realize that when I said a couple of years ago that a fundamental transformation of America was not needed, I was wrong. It is required. But it is the polar opposite and far more powerful than what President Obama meant when he called for a fundamental transformation of America. President Obama and the progressive ruling class both believe that the parties are the solution, that the politicians, they believe in a collective planned society. I believe America's answers are not to be found in Washington, but they are to be found with, by, and in the individual American honestly pursuing happiness, not in any 2,000-page bill. If you want to look for those collective-based solutions, you can find them in this phrase: America is great because America is good.